All right, so yesterday, not a great example, but otherwise, overall, the stock market has been rocking and rolling. Just opening this morning, making headlines, the Dow dropped 30 points at the open. So like I said, the past 24 hours, not the best example. But over the past couple of weeks, it's been doing well. Right now, down more than 40 points. The NASDAQ, the S&P, pretty much flat. The beginning of the year, though, is always a good time to look at the market, to check in on your 401k. That's the thing. A lot of people say, well, I'm not an investor. I don't make investments. Do you put money in your 401k? Well, yeah, of course I do. So, yeah, you are an investor. But most of us have no idea how the markets work along with our 401ks. Anthony Paul is here. He knows a lot about this stuff, a whole lot more than I do, that's for sure. The Fox 31 Problem Solver is trying to help you manage that money. So, Anthony, I just was saying to you, I've got all my 401k in one investment group. Right. You probably should always have some diversification.
Absolutely. The main thing, Kirk, you want to understand your plan. So what does that mean? Go in and figure out the features and benefits. Okay. What are the investment options? What are the risks associated with each of those funds and the fees associated with those funds? The second thing you want to do is you want to also max out your employer matching contributions. Okay. Most people don't fully take advantage of that. There's not a lot of people coming around and handing you money, Kirk, so you want to take advantage when it's possible.
Well, and usually there is a cap, right? I mean, they only give you so much matching, but you're saying as much as they'll give you, you should try to take advantage of that if you can.
Absolutely. The next thing you want to think about is, start early and save more. Okay. Most people wait, again, to the latter stages of their life to plan for retirement and start saving.
Guilty.
Yeah.
So many of us are.
Yeah, but the thing about it is one day you will be 65. Right. So the earlier you start, the better are you going to be in the long run, even if it's $75 or $100. Sure. You also want to take an evaluation of your current asset allocation. You want to go in and look at your plan. And starting a year is a great way to do it. Yeah. Then also look at your significant other, your spouse's 401k retirement plan as well. And does her or his investments align with yours? And are you both on the same financial plan for your financial goals?
What if you're at the point where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm 35, I'm 40 years old, and I haven't started?
Well, it's a great time. There's no time like today. Okay. So you have to, the sooner you start, the better, as I said a moment ago. Secondarily is if you're 35 and you still have, 3 decades, 4 decades to retirement, you can be more aggressive. You can look at a growth portfolio because it's long term. And you shouldn't let the short-term market volatility scare you because you have such a longer time horizon.
But the investments are going to be different if you're 40 versus if you're 25.
Absolutely. Because if you're more middle age, you're in between, you want to tone down your growth aspect a little bit.
I'm a spring chicken, by the way. But
you look
move on. Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate that. Correct answer. But yeah, you have to pick your investments based off of how old you are.
Exactly right. And if you don't know how to do that, you should get with a financial advisor or a professional to sit down and create a plan for you. But if you're middle age, you want to tone down the risk slightly, still have some growth, but some more bonds and cash. And if you're nearing retirement, you really want to reduce risk and look at more capital preservation and have a short-term income-focused portfolio.
And that's what you do, right? I mean, you sit down with people who have millions of dollars and people who have, $50,000.
Correct. Generally speaking is that we look at a total financial plan and say, what are your goals? And then we start there. Once we figure out your goals, then we could look at risk analysis and then we create a plan for you. And that way, you and your significant other have a detailed plan to help you achieve your goal, by age 65. Because I want you to be able to say, hey, I'm going to travel the world. This news thing has been great, but I'm going to look at different things, and I have the resources to do that.
Tomorrow? I can do that tomorrow?
So, I don't know how your bosses will feel about that.
Well, they wouldn't be too happy about that. But, and I joked about when was the last time you checked in on your 401k? Has it been, 5 months or 5 years? And for a lot of us, we don't go in there and meddle. How much meddling should we be doing with a 401k?
I think what you open it with was great. You want to look at it definitely at the beginning of the year and say, okay, am I aligned with my goals? Do I have the proper diversification? Secondarily, if you're nervous about the markets on short-term news, wait a while to look at your statement. Sure. Wait a while to log in, especially if you're, as I say, you have 3 to 4 decades until you retire, because it's a long-term goal, and you don't want to affect your portfolio, your 401k, with short-term news and volatility. Okay. And the other thing I'd add is that, remember, keep in mind that you're dollar cost averaging. Yeah. Every month you're putting in money, sometimes at high points, sometimes at average points, sometimes at low points. Yeah. Doesn't guarantee you better returns, but it will reduce that risk and volatility because you're buying at different prices through the history.
It's overwhelming. I'm not going to lie. How do people get a hold of you if they want to get your services?
Oh, great. You can always call or email me. Phone number is 303-925-9683. If you Google Anthony Paul Morgan Stanley, you'll find our website and you'll see our team's history and our background.
Anthony Paul with Morgan Stanley. Always appreciate the advice.
Thank you,
we know it's overwhelming. We know know it's a lot to take in, but we're trying to help you manage that money just a little bit. It's not as easy as the weather today. It's easy breezy on this Wednesday. Mark.
Yeah, we're not sweating it out over here in the weather